Further up, I'd love to see people together. No hard pressure, but would love to see you all come a little closer together. I'm also going to share a decision I made 5 minutes ago. I have two versions of this presentation. I have one that's a little more environmentally focused and one that's a little bit more Rotary focused. And I thought that the Rotary version would actually resonate more with the audience today. So I'm going to be giving the Rotary version of this presentation, even though it is deeply environmentally tied. So just wanted to make you all aware and set your expectations accordingly. Well, thank you all for being here. I know that you've all had a long conference. I'm Anahita to break it up for you. You can ask me my name again. I do not hold it against you if you mispronounce it. I do not go by Anna. Someone else will respond if you do actually ask where Anna is. And as long as it's the correct letters in the correct order, I think we're generally good to go. Just to kind of get us started over here, I actually want to start with my Rotary story. My mother inspired me today by starting her presentation with a story. And she's actually in the crowd, and I think this is the first time she's seen me give this presentation live, so that's kind of fun. We are generally going to be talking about Agents of Influence, which is a spy-themed media literacy game. But I want to talk about what being an agent of influence means to me and how that connects to being a Rotarian. An agent of influence, as we define it, is someone who takes the initiative to make a difference in the world around them. Someone who chooses to be a change maker rather than a victim of circumstances. And I think the Rotary idea of being people of action is very closely intertwined with the idea of being an agent of influence. I'm a third generation Rotarian, so this is something I've heard many times over. And I just want to let you all know that Rotary has been, time and time again, the wind beneath my wings. When I was about 13 years old, I came to my mother with an idea saying I wanted to put together a carnival to raise money to educate girls in India. And she encouraged me to take this idea to the school. And the school said, yes, come back to us with all the logistics. We want to see the funding plan, we want to see a team together, we want to see how you're getting the architecture in place. They'd asked me to make a business plan when I was 13 years old. And I decided to take that challenge on. So I spent 8 months getting the details they asked of me. I went around and knocked on my classmates' door and stood outside of tuition centers, recruiting students to be a part of this project. I went and asked professionals to lend their name to this event so that we could give out internships as prizes. And I went back to my school with a detailed plan and about 60 volunteers recruited. And they told me, oh, we can't support this project. We didn't think you would actually be able to do what we asked you to do. They had set me on an impossible mission so that they didn't have to say no. And when I actually met the ask that they gave to me, they backed out, saying they didn't believe in me, they didn't believe in us to actually implement this idea. This is when the Rotary stepped in. The Rotary sponsored a venue, invited interactors, donated materials, did everything we needed for us to actually take this idea to something that was tangible, to something that would make a difference. And we changed the lives of hundreds of girls who got to go to school, but they also changed my life because they helped me realize that I was capable of doing something if I put my mind to it. So thank you all as Rotarians for doing everything that you're doing, for showing people that they are capable of doing things as well, and for helping me then and now and helping everyone else. So thank you all for being here. Well, now let's talk about Agents of Influence, which is a spy-themed video game that once again a Rotarian helped me bring to everybody else. To start with, I'm actually going to start with a Rotary story. Steve inspired me in the last 5 minutes because he was the one who sent me an article that helped me really frame misinformation as the problem correctly. But I want to start by thanking the Rotary for taking out what felt like taking on an impossible challenge. When someone says we want to eradicate a disease, most people will say that is an impossible task. But Rotarians and the Rotary said that is an impossible task worth pursuing, and we will put in the time, energy, and money needed to actually get to the other side, no matter what it takes. And as a result of taking this task on, we have very significantly reduced polio. My numbers are a little out of date, so I'm not going to say them aloud. And if anyone wants to educate me on the exact numbers after, all right, my mother will come and edit my presentation after this. Rotary has done a phenomenal job taking a disease that was costing hundreds of thousands of lives across the world to now 4 individuals that are still left. So imagine my surprise when Steve sent me this article saying, hey, Anahita, my friend sent this to me. It says that more polio cases are now being caused by the vaccine than by the wild virus. And he was shocked. So were the rest of us. When you look at a headline like that, you need to stop and ask yourself, am I actually helping the cause, or am I hurting people through the actions and decisions that I'm making? When I investigated a little bit further, because the first question of the 4-way test is it the truth? This headline was very misleading. Again, my numbers are a little bit out of date, so please forgive me. But they were doing the math wrong. It is true that at the time this article was published, more polio cases were caused by the vaccine than by the wild virus. That is because there is a small chance that someone can get polio by taking a vaccine. That said, we've made significant improvements to reduce the likelihood that someone will actually get polio. And just for like a couple of months, there was a moment where there were more vaccine-generated polio cases than real polio cases or wild polio cases. But giving people the vaccine still prevented hundreds of thousands of people from getting polio. So we absolutely should continue vaccinating people. But if you blindly believe this article or this headline, you would stop giving people the polio vaccine. This led me to 2 key conclusions. Number 1, misinformation causes good people to make bad decisions. Number 2, misinformation hinders progress towards Rotary's goals. This is not just Rotary's goals. Misinformation is a problem that amplifies every other issue, including the environment. Whether it is health, whether it is inequality, whether it is education, if people cannot get on the same page to make fact-based decisions, they cannot agree on solutions that will take us all forward in a productive way. This is a project that I started, or a cause that I became passionate about during the pandemic. It was a time where we all stopped engaging with people in the real world the way I now have an opportunity to do. And the only way you interacted with other people was through this little Zoom screen or computer screen. It was a time that people felt helpless because no matter what they did, they couldn't change their immediate circumstances. And it was a time where misinformation was literally costing lives because people did not believe the threats that COVID actually posed or solutions that would help them if they had the infection. So let's have a look at the game a little bit more closely to see what the results of that rumination have been. Sound not working? Well, you guys get a fun visual video where you get to see all of our characters and life. So I will do some of the narration. Welcome to Virginia Hall High, everybody, where you will meet Napravda, who has a sinister plot to take over the world by brainwashing them with misinformation. Your students will learn to question information. Excuse my bad view. Investigate information.
And apply this knowledge to make better informed decisions.
And now the video stopped. All right. And then we're good to go. Our vision with this game is that this game can be shared with students across the world, and students who consume this game start to care about the information they're consuming and start to recognize how it informs their worldview and decision making, and give them the skills they need to make better informed decisions that serve their communities and themselves. We want this to be a doorway towards further civic action and empowerment. This is particularly targeted towards students in the 12 to 14 age range, and we've picked this age group for a very specific reason. This student group is at a critical age where they're developing lifelong habits. They are also always online, and they interact with information differently. They expect constant engagement and immediate feedback, which makes gaming a particularly powerful way of reaching this audience. Gaming is also a very powerful educational tool for three main reasons. It is one, highly transferable. When you're practicing skills that are relevant in similar contexts, you learn better and you know in a way that's very relevant to the real world. Two, it gives you specific and immediate feedback. People can change their behaviors in real time. And three, it's fun. When you actually enjoy what you're learning, you learn better. So before we kind of get too far into this, I want to take a moment to say, what is a game? I know many of you haven't spent your time playing video games, so I want you to take a moment to imagine what this could look like. Who over here, quick raise of hands, has done a Choose Your Own Adventure storybook? Or at least heard of it. Okay, one person, I'll take it two. So a Choose Your Own Adventure storybook is where you made a decision and you flip pages to see how the story ultimately ended up playing out. The game is a lot like that, but instead of flipping pages, you are clicking buttons and it just takes you to where you need to go. I'm going to help you imagine this. So everybody close your eyes. Actually close your eyes. I see everyone with their eyes open. Yes, close your eyes. Okay, now I want you to imagine that you are a princess with long flowing hair. I know that's hard for some of the people over here to imagine, but I do want you to imagine that you're a princess with long flowing hair. You are now stuck in a dungeon and you're waiting for the prince to come and get you, but he is late. It's been a couple of weeks already. Your mother told you he would come. You've been waiting, he's not here, so you're going to take matters into your own hands. You now have two options. You can either fight the dragon or you can try to escape through a tunnel underground. You were never particularly good at sword fighting. Your mother encouraged you to go to etiquette classes instead of sword fighting classes. Bad choices were made, but here we are now. So you're going to go through the tunnels instead. And as you reach the entrance of the tunnels, you discover that there is a puzzle that you need to solve to get through to the other side of the tunnel. Perhaps this puzzle has SAT words in them and you need to solve it to effectively reach the other side. That's a little bit of what our game looks like, where you are making story-driven choices, but you're doing educational activities to get through all of the different beats of the story. But instead of being a princess, I'm sorry for everyone who's disappointed about that, you get to be a spy. So welcome to the world of Virginia Hall High. Let's hear the sound.
Life moves fast at Virginia Hall High School. When I first arrived, I was just a normal freshman. Now, I'm a spy. A few weeks ago, a shadowy figure known only as Harbinger started causing trouble at school. Harbinger used a device called the Lullaby to transform some of the students into a kind of mind-controlled being that can influence the thoughts of others. We call them sleepwalkers. These altered students are dangerous assets in Harbinger's plots to spread misinformation. Luckily, I've joined with a group of student secret agents to stop them. We call ourselves the Agents of Influence.
So this is the world that you're playing in. We teach a variety of skills, but we are mostly focused on digital literacy. So some of the things we teach include algorithms, social media, cyberbullying, phishing and scams, deepfakes and AI, and data security. We have three core games, which is primarily how you interact with the world, and they're named after the skills that we teach. The first skill is conversation. Who over here has recently struggled with having a respectful conversation with someone that they disagree with? I've struggled. A good amount of people over here have struggled with difficult conversations. We no longer know how to have respectful conversations with people we disagree with. So this game helps you learn a little bit more about that. You pick choices, and good conversation choices such as being nice, asking questions, not getting defensive will take you further. Whereas bad conversation choices such as being aggressive, blaming the other person is going to get them to surprise, surprise, stop talking to you. The next game that we are going to be playing is the analysis game. We are all overwhelmed with information all the time, every direction right now. And as a result of it, people don't really stop and think about what they're consuming. In the analysis game, you are asked to deeply evaluate information. You ask questions on things like, what is the purpose of this? What is the bias? What's the evidence? What's the source? And by asking these questions, you learn how to better evaluate all of the information around you. Finally, we have the research game. Another quick show of hands. Who over here has Googled or ChatGPT'd something to make a decision in the past week? Yeah. The way we interact with information has changed very dramatically, where we depend on Google and ChatGPT to make important decisions in our lives now, every single day. But not all sources are made equal, and if you make the wrong decision, it is you who needs to bear the consequences, not Google or ChatGPT. So we help students better understand information so they can ask questions like, what is the source? How does that compare to what other people are saying? Is this research backed? What evidence do they have so they can make better choices for themselves in a choose your own adventure style situation? So you might be like in a shark tank where you accidentally fell in, and if you make the right choice, you'll escape, and if not, the shark might get a small bite of your toe and you'll get to try again. When you successfully complete all of these missions and games, you will have completed this game and saved your school from Harbinger and the misinformation plot. But even though the game is complete, your work with us and your work in the world is not. So students are given a toolkit where they have further education and volunteer and activity opportunities. So students can go and learn about fact checkers, but they can also volunteer at a local Rotary Club for a project, or they can go and take some internship courses. They can actually go out and become agents of influence. As we said, the goal is that this is a doorway towards further civic engagement and empowerment, and we want each student to become an advocate for the cause, sharing what they've learned with friends and family to create a community of more responsible information consumers and actors. We have been working on this game for too long now. As I said, we started in the pandemic, but as a result of it, a lot of people have tried the game, and luckily a lot of people like the game. Our goal is to bring this game to schools and students across the world, and the good news is we've had a lot of traction in our process so far. We won the Aspen Institute's Information Disorder Competition, won millions of dollars through the US Department of Education, have had over 1,000 schools sign up to test with us, including countries like India, Africa, and South America. And we have research results from Stanford Social Media Lab and several rigorous research studies that show this actually works. Student ability to discern true from false headlines went from 36% to 65% after playing the game. On our journey, Rotary clubs have been invaluable support. Rotary clubs have actually brought this game to their local schools. Many of them have even sponsored the game for their local schools, and that has allowed us to reach a lot more children than we would have otherwise. As I said, there's another Rotarian over here who's changed my life. And how you can help. You can make a difference. Here are some opportunities we are looking to partner with clubs on. cross-promote resources. If you're working on educational projects or if you're looking for middle or high school level volunteers, let us know and let us see if we can promote the work you're doing through our platform. Share this with your educators. Many of you work in schools or work with schools. Share this as a resource in case they are interested in participating. And funding. Unfortunately, every project requires money to continue. So if any of you have ideas on where we can get further funding from, we are open to having that conversation as well. Rotarians have been advocates for the truth for generations already. Let's pass these values down to the generations that come. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.